Okay guys, welcome back. This is Mr. Richmond, and today we are talking about plant classification. We just finished up talking about animal classification, and that's how we can take animals and split them up into groups that make sense based on similarities, right? We can do that with plants also. Scientists, in the same way that they took animals and split them up into the vertebrates and the invertebrates based upon whether the animal has a backbone or not, they've done something very similar with plants. Now, it doesn't have anything to do with having a backbone or not, because a plant doesn't have bones. And if you find one, let me know. We'll make some money. But plants don't have bones, so that's not the characteristic we're looking at. But what we are looking at in this case is whether the plant has tubes. And I'm going to explain that in just a minute. Tubes. And the main groups, the main names of these two groups are going to be vascular plants and non-vascular plants. So what makes you vascular or non-vascular? Well, it's tubes. And you know what a tube is. If you've ever used a straw, right, you know exactly what a tube is, and you know the goal is to bring what's in a glass or a cup and bring it up to your mouth, right, without actually having to touch the cup. It's a quick way to take in lots and lots of liquid or whatever it is maybe a milkshake, which is what I would be drinking. But to take it in really quick and really easily without actually having to put your mouth on the cup. Well, vascular plants have this network of tubes, lots and lots and lots of tubes that run all throughout the plant, down from the roots all the way up to the very, very tip top of the plant. And these tubes, again, their goal is to move nutrients and water and carry it to every cell in that plant so that the plant can live and stay healthy. And it's a very efficient way of moving these substances around the plant so that the plant can quickly get what it needs. So obviously, if a vascular plant has tubes, then you can reason that a non-vascular plant isn't going to have tubes. But we're focusing on vascular plants right now. Now those tubes, there's really two kinds of tubes in a vascular plant. Now we have two kinds of tubes. I say it right there, much like our own veins and arteries. We have veins and we have arteries. We have these tubes that move the oxygen and the nutrients and the water to every cell in our body. And then we have tubes that also help bring all the waste back out. Sometimes when we exhale, we're getting rid of waste. We get rid of waste other ways. But these tubes help us to achieve that. And those plants have those plant tubes, have names also. Now, it's not veins and arteries. It's actually called xylem tubes and phloem tubes. Xylem and phloem. And if I'm mispronouncing it, somebody let me know, because that's the best I know how to pronounce that. So, and let's talk about what those two different types of tubes do. The xylem tubes actually take water and nutrients and move it from the bottom of the plant with the roots and move it up throughout the plant and out towards the leaves. So let me make this very clear again. Xylem tubes are going to move the nutrients and water up from the roots, up through the plant, out towards the leaves. So we're moving up with xylem tubes. Now phloem tubes are actually moving the food that is made in the leaves, and we'll talk about that later on. But that's, the leaves of a plant are pretty much where the food is being made through photosynthesis for the plant. And that food is picked up in those phloem tubes, and it's moved down out through the rest of the plant. Now I have a little diagram here, and you can see right here, this is a cutaway section of a plant. But here we have the xylem tubes. You can see the arrows pointing up, the movement of water and nutrients up through the plant. And then you see on this other side the phloem tubes, which are moving the food that was made in the leaves down through the rest of the plant, out through the rest of the plant. It's very important that they have both, same as it's important for us to have veins and arteries. And here you can see a cutaway section of a celery stalk. And you can see the bundles of these little tubes right here. And each one of these little green spots has many, 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 many tubes. And so we're actually going to do an experiment in class with some celery to So you can see how these tubes can bring substances up through the tubes and also move substances down through the tubes. Again, let me say this one other time just for this video. Xylem tubes are moving substances, the nutrients and water, up through the plant, up from the roots and out to the rest of the parts of the plant, the stems, the leaves. And then phloem tubes are moving food down from the food making factories, the leaves. It's taking that food and bringing that food down through the rest of the plant so that the plant's getting everything it needs to stay good and healthy. So those are the tubes: vascular and non-vascular plants. Vascular, tubes; non-vascular, no tubes. Okay, so hopefully that helps you. This is just the first video in our plant series, and I'll come back with video 2 later on. So hope that helps. If you have any questions, let me know in class, or feel free to email me or comment on my blog here. Thanks.